Welcome to the Mounting Block. I'm Oriel.
And I'm Marissa.
We're here to inspire each other and, of course, you, our listeners, as we navigate the wild ride of rediscovering our love for horses while juggling work, kids, businesses, and a million other things.
From tackling fears to finding time in between school drop-offs, spilt snacks, business meetings, and marriage, we're here to share the laughs, the lessons, and the occasional mishap in the saddle.
So grab a coffee, a wine, maybe even a lead rope if you're game, and join us for honest, uninterrupted conversations, a bit of mum life mayhem, and a whole lot of encouragement.
This is a Mounting Block. Let's get a leg over and join us for the ride.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Mounting Block.
Welcome back. Yep. Fun episode today.
Yeah, an interesting episode.
Interesting episode, yes. Yeah. We'll get to our guest shortly, but
yes.
Let's do the horse riding part first.
Yes, we did something, well, we've done it before, but we did it slightly differently again today. So
we separated.
It's so sad when we have to separate.
I know. It is sad.
But we did. We got the horses together and fed them together and tacked up
No, we didn't tack up at all. We brushed them.
Brushed them together. Loaded them into the float. Drove over to the pony club where you exited with Dickety.
Yeah.
Yep, and did some groundwork.
Yeah.
With the fabulous Will.
Yes. Yeah. We're still groundworking because she's still sore.
She's still sore.
Yeah. So we got some more vet checks coming tomorrow. And so I've just been actually, what has been nice about this time, because I haven't been particularly well for, I'm better now, but I've had a good bout of illness. So I haven't been riding her, and so I'm not exerting myself. Yeah. But also it's been really nice just having this time to establish that leadership that we really need to continue with. So even if it is, we talk about it can be 51% to 49%, but 51% in the human's favour.
Yes.
But it has been really good for that, her listening to me. We did some leading without, with an invisible rope and, walks around with thinking that I'm still leading her, and that's really cute. They're like, really clever dogs in giant form when you're doing stuff like that. It's been, getting her to turn in circles, shoulder in, moving her hind legs around, going through some witches' hats with long ropes. And, it's just been like sort of more obstacles on the ground with that. And, I've really enjoyed it, and I've learnt a lot from Will. He's an incredible horseman, and he just he's so calm and he's so slow with his movements. And what I've realised is I'm incredibly uncoordinated when it comes to my hands and a rope.
Too. Yes, I was too last week.
Oh my gosh, it's shocking. He's like, just change hands on your rope, and I'm like, but wait, all of a sudden I have no idea where my left and right hand is.
And if you do that, then where do I have to go? And he's got to step around that way. But how do I get around the horse?
Move her shoulder out. Then how do I do that when her shoulder's on the other side of me? I don't. So it has been really, really good, and a nice sort of, I think for Hecate, because she's not being ridden and we're not getting out and about, I think going down to the pony club and just getting her out has been really good for her as well, and just keeping that mental activity happening for her, and getting her to focus on things without the riding side of things has been really positive. So that was me. And then you went off to your lesson.
Well, so just when we're talking about coordination. So what Will does is he's got one of those, I'm sure
flags?
The riders out there, he'll know, he's got one of those flags, right? And last week when we were doing the groundwork, and he said, okay, so he showed me how to do this thing with Blaney, and then he passed me the lead rope, and then he passed me the flag. And I said, I don't think I want to use the flag. And he's like, why not? I said, because then I have to think about a lead rope and a flag.
It's too much.
I just want to do the one thing. Just let me do the one thing. And he said, well, you might not be able to do it without the flag.
Yeah, because with the flag, you put the pressure on them, or the energy towards it. Like you're not touching them with the flag. But then, so you're doing sort of waving this flag to get them moving. But then you're supposed to just drop the flag as soon as they are doing what you're asking them to do, and take the pressure away, which is fine. But like I forget, and so I'm just waving this flag, and he's saying, "Drop the flag." Didn't even realize my hand was still waving this bloody flag because you're focused on the front of them and the lead rope that's in your hand. Anyway, we're making this sound super complicated.
It is super complicated.
Is it?
Well, maybe that's
is it?
No, maybe
I
not.
don't know. Will makes it look very easy. Super uncoordinated. I think it's just easier when we have two reins in our hands and not a flag and a
flag and a lead rope.
Yeah.
No.
But
yes.
you went off to a lesson because you're preparing for something, aren't you?
Yes, I am. We've got a dressage protocol day coming up.
Yes. So
in
what is a
weeks.
protocol day? Do we know what this is?
We do. Yes, I have learnt what this is.
Okay.
So what it is you go and you do a dressage test as if you were competing.
Okay.
You're not actually competing.
Do you wear the outfit? Are you going to wear your outfit?
Well, actually, that I don't know.
Oh, I hope you do.
I don't know if you have to wear the outfit. I'd imagine you probably do. You're kind of treating it like a test.
Yes, you should wear the outfit. You need another cost per wear.
I
Drop on that outfit.
I definitely need another cost per wear on that outfit. Yes, I do. I need a few hundreds. Per wear. Who would have thought? Equestrian gear is so expensive.
Who would have thought? Everyone.
Anyway. Not if you buy from Temu.
I know. I bought a very cool jacket from there,
it's a fabulous jacket. I love it. Anyway, I wasn't that smart, so I didn't.
Well, you were under time pressure because remember you just randomly decided like a week out that you were going to do a dressage test at, Queensland Equestrian Centre, and then you had to scrummage to get your
get everything
look
done.
And you did win best dress, so let's just remember that.
Yeah. Thank you. True.
Yeah.
So
sidebar. We're not. Yeah, we've got on the outfit for a second.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know whether you have to wear the outfit, but maybe we'll find out for next week and let you know. And then what you do is you ride your dressage test in front of a judge.
Yep.
But then instead of just getting marked and getting a thing and off you go, your competition's finished, the dressage test judge rather comes and talks to you.
Oh, okay.
And says, okay, this is what you did well. This is what you did. This is what I would have marked you down on. And this is what I would have marked you up on. And then if you want to, you can actually take that and ride the test again.
Oh, that's good. Do you think you will?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So you must have a longer time slot, do you?
You've got a half an hour time
slot. Okay, cool.
And a dressage test is 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Right? So you would do the test, talk to the judge, and if you want to, again, you do the test again.
Okay.
And get more feedback and hopefully put the judge's feedback,
into action.
Into action.
And you're going to canter this time.
I am going to canter
in the test. Ooh,
yes.
So you're doing the preliminary?
We're just doing the prelim. So I did the prep in the first one that I did. Now this is the prelim. So I'm sort of stepping up slowly. So my lesson today was sort of focused on transitions between sort of, the different kind of walks that you have to do, which sounds ridiculous. But again, if you ride, they're actually quite complicated. And I've had a couple of judges now say that, that's one of the hardest parts of the test is the walk to actually get good grades on.
So weird, but it's like a long walk, a long rain walk, and then a collected walk, and then a faster walk.
Yeah.
And it is a lot.
Yeah. And then we did some trot walk transitions, some canter trot transitions, and some halts, which are incredibly hard to stop at exactly the spot you want to stop at.
It is. And then they have to put all 4 feet in the right spot.
Yeah.
How do we train that? I have no idea.
Well,
how do you make sure that they don't put 1 foot a little bit forward? Or is that just how horses stop?
You hope.
You hope. I don't know. Is that a thing that's trained in them? I'm interested.
I don't know.
Because, in the dressage test, you do see them all halt with their perfect front and rear.
And with the dressage test that I did at QSEC, Lainey did it perfectly. Had nothing to do with me.
No.
All I was doing is stopping him. But he just did it perfectly.
He stood perfectly. Yeah. He didn't just put his one leg up for a little bit.
Yeah.
Just have a resting pose.
No, he didn't have a resting pose. He was just standing there. I was like, I'll take this.
Yeah. Well, you do your salute.
Yeah.
And remember, you have to do your salute back, not forward.
Yeah. Make sure your hand's in the right place. So, so that's happening in a couple of weeks' time. So it was great to spend that time with our coach. Just go over all of that stuff, and Lainey was a champion, as he always is.
Yeah, so good. And then you came and collected me, and we popped tickety back on, and off we went. We got a little separation routine, and as you guys were driving in, she was having as soon as she spots the float, she's like, "Oh,
my friends here,
they're back," and then she climbs on the float and then goes to bite him. It's a very complicated relationship these two horses have. She is a mare. Yeah, she's like, "Oh, I've missed you." It's a love bite. We do call a hickey love bite sometimes.
Yes, we do. Yeah. So it was a good day.
Good day.
Today we have our beautiful guest back again.
Yes, we have had Claire Riley a few times, 2 times I think, and she's always been so open and honest and just amazing with what she's able to share. So she's on today, and the reason this conversation came up is because she sends out these amazing newsletters through her business. Through the Recovering Perfectionist, which is her business. And she sent out a big article about how she had accidentally become 1 year sober. So she'd started off just in, as we all do, having a break from drinking. And then all of a sudden she found herself a year, or probably not all of a sudden. I'm sure there was a long time.
Yeah.
But it was a really, really great read. And when I read it, I immediately emailed her and said, look, we'd love you to come on the podcast, because I think this is a topic that I think we all dance around, this sort of like, what's the right amount to drink? Should we have a break? Does it become bigger than what we are? Socially, it's a thing that, can we be social without alcohol?
Yeah.
I mean, I know I've danced around that. I hated being sober a lot of the time when I was pregnant. It was,
Yeah, it's hard.
It's hard.
It's certainly not an easy decision to make. And interestingly, she didn't make it because she felt like she was an alcoholic.
No.
She made it because she thought she drank too much.
Yeah.
And I think there is a distinction there. And then she just, so we're really looking forward to finding out why she did it, how difficult it's been.
What's been the gains that she's gotten from it. So, we're really looking forward to this, and we hope this conversation, resonates with people, and everyone can take something out of it.
Yeah.
So let's introduce the lovely Claire Riley. All right. Well, we have welcomed our lovely friend Claire back.
Hello. Hello again.
Hi again.
So always so refreshing to chat to you. I really love it. Love your energy. Love what you bring to the table.
Oh, thank you. It's great to be back.
Yay.
Can't believe it's been 6 months already. Like it feels like it was a few weeks ago, but it's actually been 6 months.
It has.
Bananas.
Yes.
It has.
Yeah. Time goes too fast. And the reason we're here, which is actually probably a bit funny of a topic, because Oriel and I have just downed a ginger beer.
Yeah, we have actually. I wasn't going to tell anyone.
Whoops.
Somewhere.
I'll let the cat out of the bag. Well, we've just taken to having a nice little lunch and a just little, pre-warm up, alcoholic beverage before we do our podcast. It's making it more fun, evidently.
Yep. We're all about creativity, guys.
Well, that's right. That's right.
But that is opposite of what we're talking about with you, because I read a blog post, but you accidentally have gone over a year sober.
How bananas. Yep. It's been just over 14 months now.
Wow.
And it really was accidental. So as you would have read, it was like all right, I've got 2 weeks. For the end of 2024, every weekend for 9 or 12 weekends or something, we had visitors from interstate or overseas, or we were away, or we had some big event that absolutely necessitated drinking. So, those sorts of we can't stop drinking for that because we've got whatever, those fun stories we tell each other. But then, and my sister was up from Tassie and she was leaving on the 13th of January. So I was like, right, that'll be the last day. So 13th of January it is. I'll do a 2-week detox. Just for a bit of a reset, and my body had just been screaming at me please, can we have some water and maybe just a day off wine would be really nice. So did the 2 weeks.
Pruning inside.
And just pickling from the inside kind of thing, and just felt not trapped by it, but it would have been impossible to stop before then, sort of thing. But really, by the time the 13th of January rolled around, I was relieved. I was like, I'd been so looking forward to it, counting down for at least 6 weeks, 13th of January is D-Day. And then 2 weeks rolled around and I was like, oh, well, I think by then it was almost the end of January and everyone was rolling into Feb fast. So I was like, oh, I might as well do Feb fast. So carried on with that. And then one thing kind of led to another. And then it was 6 months. I was like, well, in 6 months, might as well go for the year. It's silly to do, half a year. That doesn't make sense. And then, next minute it was a bloody year. And now it's been 14 months.
Wow. And that's very impressive. That's very impressive.
Thank you.
And so, and I mean, I think a lot of people are sort of talking about this a lot and having, there's a lot of stuff going online right now about, people choosing, there's a lot more non-alcoholic beverages coming out onto the market and all that sort of stuff where people are choosing that, to not drink. And it's funny because there seems to be a tone where it is, I don't want to say forever because that feels really big. But at the same time, had you have set out on the 13th of January and known that you were going to do 14 months, that would have felt
massive,
huge, right?
Stupid and unrealistic. Yeah,
unrealistic.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Were you ever worried about the amount you drank? You said your body was screaming out for a bit of a break. But did you actually ever look at your life and go, okay, there's something that really needs to be fixed? Not just now,
absolutely.
Our midday ginger beers.
nothing wrong with a ginger
It was
beer.
just
another
one
Wrong
time.
with the ginger beer. That's right. No, I guess over the years there had been, as you said, more conversations going on. I've got a book here, so I've probably got 2 books here. I've never read them, but like they were on the radar, like, oh, I should just read this. And I'd had a couple of friends who'd stopped drinking and we'd had conversations and I was interested in it and that sort of thing. And one topic that came up, I guess because of some of the authors and the people who I was talking to and following, I was following online, and I started hearing this term grey area drinking and looked into that a bit. And it's like, it's not problem drinking. You're not drink driving. You're not getting abusive with your kids. You're not blacking out. Like, it's not that bad, but it's not great either. And so that's kind of where I felt like, that's probably where it's at. But I also would never have had that conversation with anyone ever at all because of that whole, like, if I admit that there's a problem, then I've got to do something about it. Because if I admit there's a problem and I do nothing about it, then I'm that loser who knows there's a problem and does nothing about it. That kind of a vibe.
Yeah.
So I think for me also knowing like longer than 2 weeks would probably be ideal, but I'm not going to commit to it because I'll probably fail. So if I do 2 weeks, I can definitely do 2 weeks. Like, it's not 14 months, it's just 2 weeks kind of thing. So almost tricking myself. It is like that. And it wasn't really intentional, but in hindsight, maybe it kind of was. Like, you know, when they talk about if you don't want to go for a walk for an hour, just go for a walk for 5 minutes, because by the time you've got your trainers on and you're 5 minutes down the road, you're like, wow, this is really nice. And you end up doing a 1 hour walk. That kind of like tricking yourself into doing the hard thing by tricking yourself into like you're only doing the easy thing. That kind of a vibe. And I guess the longer that I didn't drink, the more I realized, there were some like things that I probably thought, oh, that's a problem just because I've been drinking, and actually it uncovered like it either was, and great, that's no longer a problem, or it wasn't, and there's some other shit that needs to be dealt with over here kind of thing. So it kind of just
like
you know
what? Like what sort of thing?
Like having difficult conversations for me was like, I'm just picking fights because I've had a couple of drinks. Yeah. But actually, I'll still pick my fights. It was because there was something I really needed to say and I wasn't feeling heard. So let's find some more constructive ways of doing that, rather than I need to have this difficult conversation, I'll drink some wine and then I'll have the guts to say what I need to say, that kind of a thing, that I thought I was just picking fights and being argumentative because I was drinking. Actually, it was that I needed to have a conversation about something or whatever. That's probably the biggest one I can think of.
That's really interesting. Yeah.
Do you know, I've never heard of grey area drinking.
Me neither. Before. I've never heard that term, grey area drinking.
No.
Can you explain more about that?
Yeah, it's like
might hit a nerve.
Fine.
It's not like your friends aren't staging an intervention, and probably no one would look at you and think, God, she's got a drinking problem. And it's not impacting, like it wasn't impacting my daily life. I was still highly productive and still able to do everything I needed to as a parent and in my business and just as a general functioning. It wasn't like getting up in the morning and having to have vodka to have a shower sort of thing. It wasn't problematic, but it was impinging on stuff like, as I said in the blog, it was impacting decisions that I would make about my evenings. Like, oh, well, will I go there because that's wine drinking time, or is someone going to be driving, or can I walk home, or how am I going to get there, or like decisions around social stuff, and also little things like wanting to spend more quality time with the kids, but like I've got my wine downstairs, so just go to sleep. Like we'll have a quick chat and then just go to sleep. And then I felt like I probably wasn't being the parent that I wanted to be. Not in like, I wasn't awful, and I don't think the kids would even notice any difference, but it just wasn't how I kind of wanted to show up, sort of thing.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And I wonder if it's, I mean, I don't know if this sits in grey area drinking, but sometimes I think, oh God, the kids got sport that morning, so I can't drink.
That's stopping your grey area
stopping
drinking.
My grey area drinking, you know. Oh no, I won't go out that night because I won't be able to really go out. So no, but I can see that. Does it also was it also in the space of like, and I know a lot of people would think this, you know, the end of the day, the wind down or the wine down.
Always
yeah, and you know, getting there and just looking for that, and how how does that feel when that's gone? Like,
look, it for me, it was kind of, I knew that it was just a habit. Like, it's 4 o'clock, grab a wine. I've done a hard day's work, or I've had a shitty day, or I've had a great day. Like, there was always a reason. we either like, well, I'm cooking dinner. What else would I be doing in between chopping the vegetables? Like, oh, of course I'll have a glass of wine while I'm doing that or whatever. Like it just became a real
habit.
Time-related habit, and we'd go out for lunch. Of course I'll have a glass of wine, or we'll go for dinner with friends. Of course we'll take a bottle of wine. So, it was definitely a habit-related thing. And in the first probably in the first couple of weeks, that was one of the hardest things, was the habit thing. Like, I'm over at Aldi and it's right next to Celebrations. I'll grab what we need for dinner and I'll just duck in and grab oh, no, I won't. Don't do that anymore. Like that kind of habit thing.
$30 back in your pocket.
Right. Yeah. Massive difference financially. And interestingly, I'd had probably, 3 or 4 months before I had my 2-week detox. I'd gone in there and the bloke says, "G'day." And I said, "Hello." And he goes, "Claire, right?" And I was like,
oh my God, the bottle shop guy knows my name.
The 21-year-old bottle shop guy who has no business knowing my name knows my name because I hand my loyalty card over to him so often. He knew my name. I'm like, that's
yes,
not good.
But you've got to say he may also have paid attention to this beautiful blonde lady that walks into his
less likely. He was probably more like, "Fuck, she's here again, is she? Wow, it's the 3rd time this week." And my partner jokes that he's been fired since then because there's no business left because I'm not buying booze anymore. Obviously extreme, but that was, and the end of the day thing, and probably mostly the stressful days. Like, it's been a shit day, or I'm really cranky about such and such. That was definitely the hardest. Like, the habits was hard to get out of, but I can trick myself into different things. And celebrations equally kind of up there, but the coping mechanism, the really conscious shit day, having one was definitely the hardest one to stop in the moment, I guess.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. Because it's got that medicinal element to it.
It does. It does. And it is just that relaxant, right? It's like taking your mind off things and letting go in a different way. But it's interesting because when I have stopped drinking for periods of time, never very long periods, I have to say, they're certainly not 14 months, but I've done Feb fast or dry July or whatever it is. And that's all fine until you go out with someone who's always sort of the life of the party, and they're like, come on, like, you can do it. Then I find it really hard to say no because what does one day, I'm just going to buy that. You used to be able to buy your days back. Yeah. I'll just buy that as a day, and then I can have those few drinks. Like, do you find that? Like, and how difficult is that for you?
Do you know what? It's actually been the most surprising easy thing, actually. And years ago, I think back in 2021, I did 100 days, which turned into 107 days. So that was the longest, the only other, apart from being pregnant, that was the longest probably as a grown-up that I had ever gone. And I found it much more difficult then because the culture hadn't kind of caught up. What we were all probably like 15 years ago, if you said you weren't drinking, the first thing that people would say is, "Why are you pregnant?" It was the only excuse, the only reason you were allowed to not be pregnant, to not drink, was, "Oh, you must be pregnant." And then if you didn't drink, there'd be whispers going on like, "She said she's not, she probably is. That's the only reason she would be drinking."
It was like the biggest stress when you first felt pregnant, of how you were going to hide
not drinking.
Yeah. Like, that was a real stress. You're absolutely
And when you would tell people, they'd be like, "I knew it because you didn't drink at the staff party." Yeah. So, but I didn't find that at all this time. It was more like, I would say, "I'm not drinking at the moment," and kind of like brace for the response of like, "Oh, why aren't you drinking?" What, like that sort of response. But literally every single person I told went, "Wow, well done, high five, congratulations, that's amazing." Like, everyone was really supportive and almost like admiring of like, "That's amazing." So for me, as a people pleaser and like love a bit of external validation, that was actually really, really important to me, to have those people around me going, "Good on you." And that I never felt any pressure to drink, even with the people who I would usually like almost religiously only catch up with to drink with. There was never any of that. So I was very lucky to probably have the right people around me. I never ever felt that sort of pressure. Yeah.
So, okay, so let's talk about the social side then, because wine and that's one thing, but how do you, I don't know, this is going to sound like such an odd question, because I remember when I was pregnant, I found it really infuriating being around drunk people, and I found it really boring. And so how do you enjoy those social situations without booze? I guess it's the baseline of my question.
Go home early? Do you go home early?
Yeah, I definitely go home early, which again is probably a blessing in disguise because I'm an early to bed, early riser anyway. Like I'm more happy getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning than I would be staying up until midnight. So no one would really notice if I disappear. And there's probably only been maybe 3 or 4 occasions that I've been out with a group of people, and it's actually been kind of interesting and a little bit amusing until it got just on the verge of being irritating, of going, wow, that was me a few months ago. Like I was that irritating one who started repeating or slurring or whatever. And not in a judgy way, like it didn't bother me in that sense, but just in a like, okay, I'm ready to go now then. Like there's no more of the conversations we were having. That's finished and I'm not going to be part of this next thing. But usually I guess I also, a lot of people who I would do that with, it would literally be like early dinner and drinks and then everyone goes home anyway. So I don't like, I'm not a party animal. I don't spend loads of time at pubs and clubs. I mean, this is Sunshine Coast and there's nothing here to do anyway. So I haven't really noticed it too badly. And I also feel like because I'm not drinking and there's it's maybe less of an expectation, but if one person isn't going overboard, then everyone else kind of also doesn't go so overboard. So it maybe doesn't get to that point. I don't know. Maybe that's just my imagination. But I also notice like there are some people who I would normally drink with, but when I'm not drinking, I'll get them a bottle of wine and they're like, oh no, if you're not having one, I won't have one. I'm like,
Yeah, interesting.
that's weird. So we're both not drinking then? Like what? That's weird. Don't do it because of me. And, you know, I had even I run retreats and I was probably 4 or 5 months in and we were running a retreat and one of them said, oh, is it okay? Do you mind if I have a drink? I was like, no, like you do what you need to do.
What kind of a retreat is this?
It was really interesting that that they felt like they had to ask me permission and was it going to be too triggering and was it going to make it really difficult for me to not drink if I could see them drink? And I was like, I hadn't even registered, like it was so not a thing. I really doesn't bother me if anyone else is doing whatever. Absolutely. Yeah. Just hasn't really registered. And I think, like there's been lots of those little moments of, as I said, that sort of external validation and also waking up and feeling like, oh, I didn't drink again and I feel good. Oh, that's good. Like there's lots of those little moments that make it really easy to keep making that decision. And it's like the longer that I don't drink, the less I want it. So
interesting. You know, and like you're standing, you know, driving past people waiting for Ubers and being like, haha, I'm just driving home.
Yeah, I'm driving home because I can. I don't need to wait for Uber.
Listen, I had to work out where the headlights were on my car recently because I just don't really go out late. But yeah, no, there's and I guess because my partner's also not a big drinker anymore either.
I was going to ask you that. Did you do it together?
Like when we first started going out, we were both quite heavy drinkers and it was kind of that social lubricant, I suppose, of like conversation and what do we do if we're not going out for drinks and dinner, like what do we do sort of thing. Yeah. So we definitely both did drink a lot more, but he's one of these people where he makes a decision and he actually just actions it. One of those freaks. Like his dietitian says, maybe you should eat seriously, right? But he'll like his dietitian's like, maybe you could cut back on bananas. And so he literally stops eating bananas that day. Where if someone said to me, cut back bananas, I'd be like, right, well, I've still got 7 in the fridge, so I'll have to eat those first. And then I've bought a new bunch and now I had one accidentally on Monday and you can't start something on a Tuesday, so I'll start next Monday. And it'll be 4 weeks until I actually did the thing they told me to do.
Cut out the bananas,
But he's one of those people that says, I'm stopping drinking and he'll stop drinking, or I'm going to start, you know, taking supplements, and he starts that day. Like I need a 4-week plan to get ready. As I said before, I needed like that 6-week runway to stop drinking. Yeah. He will just be told. So in that way, it's very inspiring to me just to be like, oh, you can actually make a decision and action it straight away. Who knew? Yeah. But because I guess then, you know, in the past it had been like, well, I'm drinking, so he would be driving, and he wasn't a big drinker anyway. But then now it's kind of nice to go like, you have some beers, babe. Like I'll be the hero who drives home tonight.
Yeah. And then he probably has like 2 and you're like, oh, you can still probably go.
Yeah, you
totally.
could have still driven.
But throw me the keys anyway, love.
I got you.
I am
the
take
driver.
This. So what happens then, Claire, when you look ahead, when you look forward and you go, okay, so I've done this for 14 months, was only planning on doing it for 2 weeks. Do you look ahead and go, so I'm not going to drink anymore? That's going to be my world? Or is it just, I'm just going to take it month by month?
I feel like it's kind of day by day, but like I said, the longer I go, the more I'm thinking about why I'm not interested, but I'm less interested. I was definitely saying, like, I'm not saying this is forever. This is definitely not forever. And some people, when I was even a few months in, would be like, maybe you'll never drink again. And I was like, lol, get out of my face. Of course I'm going to start drinking again. But yeah, the longer I go, the more I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to again. And if I do, I don't know if again it'll be a date, like a special event, or like we were supposed to go to Europe at the end of the year, which may or may not happen. And I'd said, like, it'd be really strange sitting in France not enjoying French wine. Of course, if we're in France, I'm going to drink wine. Yeah. But then the closer we get to it, I'm like, I don't know. I can probably still go without it. Yeah. Or will it just be a fuck it? I'm having a wine tonight. I don't know. I don't know. And I guess the more that I think about it and, you know, have these conversations and that sort of thing, that I realize some of the mindset stuff that is and was and has gone on around it, such as trusting myself to just be able to have one or two, where I really struggled with that in the past. Even when I made a decision, I'll just have one or two, I would still really struggle to just have one or two. Like I would always have 3 or 4 or more or whatever. So there's probably a bit of a like, if I was to start again, could I be a bit more moderate and just drink every now and then?
There's fear around it now.
There's a lot of fear around it. And I had a lot of fear leading up to stopping drinking, partly the social thing, like I'll have no friends, no one will invite me anywhere, I'll have no social life, and partly fear of like, I'm going to tell people I'm going to do 2 weeks and I'll last 3 days and I'll fail, it sort of thing. So there was a lot of fear around that, a lot of fear around but how do I have these conversations? But what about when it's just me and my partner and the kids aren't here? Like, what do we do with that week? And what do the evenings even look like if we're not having a glass of wine or going over to the pub or sitting out the front and enjoying the mosquitoes and wine, that sort of thing. But now that it's the other side, it's like fear of starting again and like feeling, I actually had I must have eaten something a bit funny last week, and I said to my partner, I feel like I've been drinking all night yesterday. I hadn't obviously had anything, but I just had this feeling in my stomach of this kind of inflammation and just feeling like, and it was just enough to remind me like, yeah, well, you used to feel like this all the time. Like, okay, well, maybe I'm not ready to feel that.
But interesting.
That's
really interesting.
Yeah. What would you say to people that are listening or watching today that are thinking, well, maybe I should try this, maybe I should do it? What sort of advice would you give to them?
And the good stuff that's come out of it.
Look, I think it's finding something that works for your brain. Like for me, it's that kind of gamification and the streak. I'm a real streak girly. So if I'm doing things like journaling or meditating or going to the gym or something, if I set myself a goal of 3 times a week or getting to 21 days without missing a day. And like you said, sometimes you can buy it back. So I used to do this journaling thing called Captain's Orders, where you were supposed to get to 90 days. And if you got to 45 days and then you skipped a day, you had to go back to day 1. And eventually after like 4 years of not getting to 90 days, I was like, you know what? I can make some fucking rules here. So if I skip a day, I just have to do it twice the next day. So I'd have to write my whole page out twice. And that gets pretty tedious and is pretty motivating to make sure that I do it. So in that sense, like I find what works for me is the streak and like that kind of gamifying it for myself. But I guess for some people, there's also like other tactics, like having an accountability buddy or doing like a switch. So if you're not drinking wine, make sure you've got some really fancy non-alcoholic wine or like those fancy tea bags you put in water that kind of looks nice. And like sometimes even in the beginning, especially, I would drink my soda water out of a wine glass because it just felt nice and like a wine, kind of trick myself. I don't like the non-alcoholic wines. They just like, just put some vinegar in a cup for me if you're going to do that sort of thing. So I guess it's finding little tips that work for you, but also, like, as I said, what really worked for me was kind of tricking myself into it's just 2 weeks. Like, it's just 2 weeks. It's not a long term. It's like, seriously, Claire, if you can't do 2 weeks, then you might need to go and actually talk to someone kind of thing. So, I think that finding little ways, and, you know, it's probably the same as quitting smoking for in some ways. I was a smoker in my like teens and early 20s, and I was a cold turkey girly, like cold turkey or nothing. There's not going to be any gum or patches or anything because they just made me feel sick. But for some people that really worked for them, but also it takes you 4 or 5 goes until you've quit and then relapse and quit and then relapse and whatever. But every little time, I guess, it kind of gets a bit easier, and you know, your brain remembers what it felt like when you didn't, and all that sort of thing. And I think for me it was kind of like seeing some people around me who are very heavy drinkers, and they're 20 or 30 years older than me, and thinking like, well, if I don't stop now, if I don't get this under control now, am I still going to be doing this like when I'm 60?
Yeah.
Is that what I want to be like when I'm 60 or 70? Like, and I think like one of the other big things, I had a heap of women around me in probably a 4 or 5 month period who had really significant injuries, not because of drinking or anything, but because they'd just fallen over and slipped or whatever. And then they had significant soft tissue and bone damage. And I knew part of my, like the knock-on effect was that my entire body was just not healthy. Like it was stopping me from going to the gym. I've lost a significant amount of weight since I've stopped drinking. Like my body is much stronger now. And a really big motivator for that is not breaking a freaking bone, because I just don't have the time or the bandwidth. So, and you know, part of that, and the weight loss is a really, really massive thing for me as well, that if I had not stopped drinking, the weight loss either wouldn't have happened, but all the other things that I've done to make the weight loss happen wouldn't have stuck, because I'm also a bit of a like, well, you know, when I was a smoker, when I was much younger, I was like, I couldn't understand people who would smoke and then go on the treadmill. I'm like, but you've just gone on the treadmill for half an hour. Why would you go and ruin that? Like, I hate the gym. I don't hate the gym. I do like it now. But back in the day, any sort of thing that made me sweat, I'm like, ew, yuck. I don't want to sweat at all. So it was really hard work to do a workout, and I really can't get my head around how wasteful it is to have done something really hard and then fuck it up with a cigarette. So it's the same sort of thing with weight loss. Like if I'm going to do all these things and eat really well and, you know, go back to the gym and go for walks and look after my health to try and lose weight, and then drink wine, it's like
dump 1,000 calories.
I just can't. Do you know what I mean? And I think that was a massive part of it. So to unlock being able to do the other things, drinking was the first thing that really had to go first. And that's probably one of the other things that I have a bit of fear around. Like if I start drinking again, is the weight going to come back on? And
of course,
all of that sort of thing. And like I've worked really hard to get here, and I don't want to undo all of that sort of thing. So
I could completely understand that it would be like one of those things where you're like, if I have like the thought of having another drink now would be, if I do it, I'm with you on the streak. Like Duolingo had me trapped in that bloody app for like 385, 400 days. And then I was like, I actually just have to delete the app, because this streak anxiety is actually getting to me. Like it's actually getting to me. So I think I once paid to buy my streak back because I lost it. And I was like, this is so stupid.
Right.
This is so stupid. But it gets into a part of my brain that it got me. So I understand. So I think the way I said about the anxiety earlier is because I could imagine that you've sort of got this, like you're on this trajectory and everything's going really well. And like, if I just had that drink, would it all just collapse apart? And look, the reality is it probably wouldn't, because you know, you've got 14 months of amazing habits under your belt. You know, you're a complete different mind shift, you know, all of those things. You've done really great things for your body. But I could completely understand that one change, it's not to say you're like an alcoholic that, you know, one drink and you're back down in the gutter with, you know, your vodka for breakfast. But I can imagine there would be, I could feel that difficulty around it, because it would all feel very big. And
I think it's like I don't want it to be for nothing. Like it would really kill me if I had a glass of wine and didn't enjoy it. And I broke my streak for something that wasn't awesome.
No, and you definitely need to.
What's the point?
No, you definitely, if you do it, you definitely need to wait for like Aperol Spritz in, you know, Italy, or a French champagne in Paris. Like that, it's got to be. I'm with you. It's got to be meaningful now. Hey?
Meaningful and enjoyable and no regrets. And I think that's probably the fear. Like, but what if I regret it and then I've wasted 18 months? Not wasted, but. Like that, then I've got to start back at one. I've got to start back at one for some shit I did yesterday that I didn't even enjoy.
Really want.
It's funny, isn't it? Because you talked about, you know, the mindset shift. And I think for anyone out there who is thinking about doing this or is in the process of doing this, I know, because I was also a smoker when I was younger, and the way I got my mind around it, which actually made a a fairly heavy smoker, made it really quite easy to give up, was the mindset shift that I'm actually not giving up. I'm giving myself freedom. Like I am giving myself the freedom to not be addicted, to not need to go out to dinner and be out on the street smoking a cigarette halfway through dinner, you know, all of those sorts of things.
Freeing.
It's absolutely liberating. And I think it's a really nice way of, you know, of looking at that sort of thing. Like if you're struggling to do it and you want to do it and you think, well, actually, I'm going to take all of these chains that, you know, alcohol or cigarettes or whatever it is that are around me, and I'm just going to say, no, I don't want that anymore. I'm going to give myself this gift.
It's a really great reframe of it.
I was talking to my partner about it last night, and he's gone a year before, and like I said, he's very much like, I'm going to have 3 months off, and just has 3 months off. But he also said, you know, you've never meet someone who's had a significant amount of time away from alcohol or quit altogether who says, oh, I really miss getting drunk. Like you just never hear someone say that. Yes, maybe I miss, you know, sitting down around the blah, blah, blah and having a beer or something. But do I miss it enough to even say it out loud? Oh, I really miss booze. Like, nah, I don't miss it that much. And it's interesting I was like, yeah, I guess you don't. It's probably the same with smoking. No one who's quit smoking goes, damn, I wish I didn't quit smoking. Like, it's not a thing. You know, it's not, nothing got worse. Nothing has gotten worse. Everything has gotten better or stayed the same. Like nothing is
Nothing's
worse.
Gotten worse. So on that
My social life is not worse. No.
Before we wrap up, I think it's the final, like, I guess, you know, talking points. Would love to know, like, you know, top line benefits. Like what is, when you're looking back now 14 months, what has been the best to come out of this?
Yeah, number one would be my overall physical health, like I said, with weight loss and that sort of thing, and waking up fresher and being more productive. My sleep is better. My skin is like out of sight better. My daughter always says, Mum, you used to go red all the time. And I was always red and blotchy and all that sort of thing. And looking at photos now of my face and how puffy my eyes were and things like that, like physically I'm just feel so different and so much stronger and even more agile. And like my cardio health, I don't know if that's alcohol related or more fitness related, but like I don't struggle to go for walks or run upstairs or that sort of thing. So physically is definitely the most noticeable for me as well as for other people. I think that's definitely a massive game changer that's been so long in the making. Like it's just, and you know, it comes with its own set of mindset things and like, why didn't I do this sooner? And all that shitty self-talk and all of that sort of thing. But definitely the biggest one. I guess the second and probably most important one is my relationship with the kids and being a role model to them. Like, interestingly, my mum never drank when I grew up that I can remember. My dad did drink significantly when I was younger, but he quit when I was young enough to not remember, and he started again when I was in my mid-20s, and that was really strange. But in that sense, I didn't grow up around a family of drinkers or anything like that, and I always was conscious of drinking around the kids and that sort of thing. And even, I mean, years and years ago when my son was probably 3 or so, and so my daughter would have been about 1.5 or 2, was in the bath, and he stopped what he was doing in the bath and looked over at me and said, Mummy, where's your wine? And I was like, oh, that's not good. My 3-year-old's noticed that I don't have a glass of wine while I'm bathing him. Like little things like that I was conscious of not normalizing. Like I don't want them to see or think that it's normal to drink wine all the time and that sort of thing. So that's been you know, and they've noticed, and they noticed the physical difference and me being more present and all of that sort of thing. And like we've started reading bedtime stories again. I mean, they're not like kid bedtime stories; they're proper, you know, novels and that sort of thing now. But it's a very different vibe. Or we'll lie in one of their rooms for 45 minutes and just chat over nighttime. And so, like, and I guess there's things that I also, not just with the kids, but with a lot of things that I would have forgotten or was a bit hazy and was like, did that happen, or did we have a conversation about that, or am I just imagining things, or was it a bit hazy because I'd had some wines or whatever? That just is not an issue anymore. Like I know the conversations we've had, I know what we've talked about, I know when we talked about it, I know what you told me, I know what I told you. Like it's just totally changed that
well, you're so clear-minded
connection. Clear-minded, exactly. So that's probably the second big thing. And I guess I'm borderline like, is it the relationship? But I don't think my relationships changed hugely, but my self-esteem and my confidence in myself, and therefore how it impacts my relationships, I suppose, is really different as well. So I guess, having, it does feel like an achievement because it was difficult at times, but it does feel like, look, I've done this. Like, it's really like self-affirming to go, like, I did this, I made this change, and I've had this awesome outcomes. And that's quite a perpetuating mindset thing, I suppose. Like, well, if I can do that, going from quite a heavy drinker to not drinking and improving all areas of my life, like, maybe that other shit that I thought was impossible is not impossible as well.
Yeah, love it.
So amazing.
Congratulations. You're inspirational.
Yeah, huge congrats. I think, and the fact you're writing about it and being so open about it, and being so open about where you were before and, where you are now and all of that, I think is so, awesome. It's so awesome. It's so important. And I think people will really, obviously resonating, because I'm sure you got a lot of feedback on your...
Oh my gosh.
when you put it out there.
Yeah, I did. And even like as I was writing it, I got halfway through and I was like, I'm not publishing this, but I wanted to write it anyway, just to like get it out, almost like a journaling thing. I was like, I'm not telling people this, whatever. This has nothing to do with my business, like no one's business. But people were really interested in, like, it's been a year. And also I guess I got to the point where I was like, it's like with the recovering perfectionist, that sort of thing, with the book and whatnot, that I often talk about with that book and with the podcast. It was like, as soon as I start talking about the recovering perfectionist, it's like everyone around the Christmas table unbuttons their belt and they're like, oh, me too. Yeah. And it was it's probably more from that point of view. Like, I know that being the first person to be vulnerable, like in my group, obviously, first person to be vulnerable and share about that, I trick myself into doing it like, it's not for me, it's to help other people, like that kind of thing. Yeah. But yeah, it has been. So
you put it out there.
So I put it out there, and I have had a really beautiful response from like close friends and family and people I know through biz and complete strangers. I've probably had 40 or 50 DMs and emails, some from people I've never heard of before, saying the same sort of thing. And it's just opened up some awesome conversations with friends. Even I had a friend here on Tuesday and she was like, I didn't really know what you did, so I went and Googled you and I found your article. And then we had this whole conversation for the next 45 minutes about it, and through, her lens and all that sort of thing. And it was just like, they're conversations that I think we really need to have without the shame. And if I didn't publish it, it's implied shame, right? It's like,
for sure.
Oh, don't tell anyone, like I said, I don't think it was a problem. I don't think anyone would have looked at my situation and being like, God, who's this alcoholic over here? I don't like, it wasn't that dreadful, but it wasn't great. It really wasn't great. And now not being there, it's so much better.
I think that's, I think it's really, I think it's very thought provoking, and I think a lot of people will definitely resonate with it. So thank you, thank you so much for sharing it all.
Thanks for
chatting. Lovely to have you back with us. Again.
What will we talk about next?
Well, I'm sure
I'll have to go and find something else
shoe addiction. Yes. Oh, well, lovely to chat, and we'll definitely be in touch soon. But thank you.
Cool, thank you. Thanks, and thanks everyone. To all our viewers, our listeners, for being with us again today. See you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.